I heard lies.
Whoa, whoa!
Chills down
That
your
was
spine, right?
that was the that I think that was up there. That was like top 10 Ironlight varietals
All
for me.
right, man. I'm feeling good about it.
Wow. I was just we were just doing warm-ups before we started recording, and I was going to tell you the one that I hate to do and watch other people do is the teeth, the lips, the teeth, the tip, like whatever the tip
The
of the
tongue, the leaf, the lip, the tongue, the teeth. Nope, the tongue, the
I
Ooh.
hate it.
The
Yeah,
tongue's the
I
lips,
really
the tip
hate
of
it.
the no, it's the tip of the tongue. So it's the teeth, the lips, the tip of the tongue. The teeth, the lips, the tip of the tongue. There you go. Found it.
I don't like that one. I have no love for it. I'm a big red leather, yellow leather guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Peggy Babcock,
That's a killer.
Irish
Brutal.
wristwatch, right?
Irish wristwatch. Yeah, I
Um,
feel you.
we are God. Oh, and I didn't
We
start
are
my
God.
stupid clock.
This just in.
We are God, man. I didn't start my stupid clock. We've been in it for less than 2 minutes,
Yeah, just a
without
stint
a
here.
doubt. We're coming out of Houston Webb's very first session for his new campaign, the Amea.
The Amaean,
Uh,
baby. Not named
featuring.
after a world, so it's gonna break the long line of like Mura, Targonra, Pragasphar, Josadius, the
I thought you came
Amaya.
up with a name for Pragasphar, but I don't want you to say it yet because we're not done with Pragasphar yet in terms of Ironlight.
Ironlight. Yeah, wise.
Ironlight terms.
Wise.
Um, yeah, I haven't. I always tell my group that I've come up with a name for Josadius, like a true name. I have not. It's like, how do you encapsulate years of play into?
No way.
I don't know. God, and we're coming off a little bit of tragedy. I was slated to go and play in-person D&D, this little experiment that I'm doing for my next big project after Josadius is over. And on the way, my engine started misfiring. So I'm a sitting duck in Ann Arbor. I told JoJo about this a little bit.
Yeah. No updates. You're just stranded. You're
No, there are updates. We replaced the spark plugs, we replaced the coil packs, the ignition is fine. The compression is the thing that's wrong, and compression is not an easy thing to fix. So we're gonna get her into the shop this weekend. I'm gonna pay out of the nose, and then I'm seriously considering selling that bucket of bolts. I mean, once the parts are all in, maybe I can get a couple grand for her and start, shopping around. I don't know.
all right. I
Life's
got a
crazy
guy
right now.
for you. I got a guy for that. So just we'll talk about that after the credits roll. Dude,
But when JoJo says a guy, he means his dad.
my dad, my old man does car stuff. Yeah, I'll put you in touch with the old Dave, old DJ. Do right by you.
I spent a lot. Well, no, not the whole weekend. I was spending a lot of time with Greg because he's the one who knows about cars. And in his phone, his name and his contacts for his dad is his dad's legal name, Daniel Meyer.
Whoa.
I'm like, why not just put dad or daddy-o or old man? He said, I don't know.
Might have a couple dads a couple years down the road. You look them up, you get switched. I'm just
Coach.
hey. What do I know about other people's lives? You're assuming this guy has one dad. All right, that's on you.
I know for a fact this guy has one dad. I've met his dad, his father, and his mother.
As far as you know.
Speaking of
far,
really
far.
dubious.
Speaking of far.
Dubious. Okay, well, sure. Dubious parentage. Ancestry.com, 23andMe. A pride, a father's love for his son, and the son's loss of his father and his pride come to wield the relics, the dual. What are they called? The dual whatever. Duality weapons.
It's been a month, man.
Of Pragasphar. It has been a month. It feels like it has been a month.
Cut you slack. That was to. All right.
I like your leather jacket. Why don't you get into it?
Yeah, thanks. It's Nikki Shepix. Shout out, Nikki Shepix. Love you, buddy. Pragasphar, misnamed by Jim Shepik, Pragavar, which I like more and wish that I had gone with the whole time.
That's not better.
It's different. The PHF noise is contentious, but I like it. Pragasphar, folks, this is the penultimate session of Pragasphar. This is the game before the end. Going into this session, I didn't know if there'd be one or two more afterwards, but at the end of this session, I knew there could only be one. So shit really happened. So the session is entitled The Day of Three Kings, session 21. And we open on the party having just defeated Dr. Bleakwood in a battle against the Somnium Tenebris war mode with all of its gods chained to the side over the city of Eriswile. Sparks have flown, combat has been done, Patch had his final confrontation with this guy, and now the party is emerging from the wrecked hull of the interdimensional ship and watching as Emery Spade approaches them, drawing a sword of light, the fourth duality weapon, from her sternum, like pulling it from her chest, creating it of herself, and moving to attack the party. She's here for business. And what she says she wants is the Tor Stone, the very thing that Claymore Patch just lifted off of Dr. Bleakwood, and in a quiet moment during this session, when fighting breaks out imminently, which he stashes inside of himself. Claymore Patch, ever the surgeon, cuts an opening in his chest, sticks the Tor Stone in there, and sews it back up with Final Fantasy. So it looks
metal.
unblemished. Yeah,
So
very
metal,
hardcore.
dude.
And it ended up having pretty big implications for the last session, as we will come to see. But whatever. Emery Spade shows up, says, I just want this Tor Stone. It's not a problem. No, I won't hurt them, Rectress. She answers to a voice in her head. So clearly, in correspondence, mentally at least, with Rectress Arlen Lauder. And the party's got this this gas moment, like, what's going on? Baragon jumps up, he's ready for combat. She just drew a weapon. She's got these weird spinning blade things behind her that just look badass, but nobody knows what's going on with them yet. And we drop into initiative for exactly one round. Cal tries to slow things down a little bit. Patch sneaks off, and this is when he puts the stone inside of his chest. Baragon just goes crack, like right after Emery Spade. The fight is interrupted very quickly when a force from without fires these massive projectile harpoons that split the pavement. They almost take Emery out. These blades behind her back go into full defensive mode, like make a micro phalanx defending her from things. And she says, fine, meet me at Mount Lear, and bamps out of there. Just teleports from seemingly nothing. Prince Parlous has come to the aid of the party. They requested him when they saw Bleakwood last session. Baragon said, bring all your men, come as fast as the winds can take you, what have you. Or sorry, bring all of your men, come as fast as the winds can take you. Right? In proper...
Pretty, not a bad Baragon.
A lot of
Truly
chest
not
work.
a bad Baragon.
Very good. It was badass. But Parlous finally shows up, a little late for the Bleakwood party, but in time to interrupt the Emery encounter.
Was there a cutscene this episode?
Was there a cutscene?
Session?
This session.
I think maybe there was not.
There might have been towards the end of the session. Did I ever formally go through Arkancelus's death? No. I think that was out of character. But
yeah. That was out of character, I think.
That was out of session, but in between the session before this and this one.
Yeah.
I showed the party the last few frames of Arkancelus's life, which explains those weird spinny blade toys that Emery Spade has. Arkancelus's last act was with the book. He wrote that he wishes he had a weapon that could defeat the dragon goddess Tiamat, right? A weapon capable of destroying Tiamat. It created these two spinning chakrams. Arkancelus then, seeing Tiamat grow more powerful as a response of that, because that's how the books work, takes the chakrams, bamps out of there, and tries to use them to kill Bleakwood. That was his plan this whole time, because the book always restores equilibrium. He thinks the shield is going to handle Tiamat. I just got to handle Bleakwood. When in effect what happened was the shield was no longer sufficient on its own to defeat Tiamat. The party didn't run into that problem because they had like 3 different ways of taking the Dragon King down. But if you had only tried to use the shield, it would not have worked. It wouldn't have sufficed. So it was sweet. But all of that is kind of past. Arkancelus's body is dead. The party sees Emery Spade is the one who killed him. She knows his true name from the one-shot way back in the day. And now she's got the spinny blades and she's waiting at Mount Lear, the place where dead people go in Pragasphar. It's like the final point of the world before you pass into some other. So, Parlis shows up, picks up the party. City, erstwhile, wrecked, everything total chaos. Rectress is gone. And Parlis picks him up and starts talking to Baragon, starts chatting around a little bit. So what else is new? We're hanging out in the airships. There's a little bit of the session that's just kind of exploring, investigating things. There's one very heavy political moment right off the bat. When Baragon, who is still angling for control over Parlis's empire, right? He's been striving for it the whole time. That's finally coming to a head here. Baragon goes to visit Parlis in his private chambers, where he waits with his 2 timekeepers, right? These people that see the future. Baragon orders them out and talks to Parlis alone. And over the course of a few minutes' dialogue, sows this seed of uncertainty in Parlis's head. That it wasn't one of his time seers that sabotaged him in the last fight. These people know everything about him. They are the source of his power in the people's eyes. People think he's only untouchable because he's got these precogs following him around, right? Like, these are the people who will be your undoing, Baragon convinces him. Parlis orders Baragon's away and orders his timekeepers in. And the party never sees what happens down there. But it isn't difficult to derive that Parlis's timekeepers, his divinations, his precogs, he called them, are never seen again. He kills them both. He's
Al
convinced.
wandered down.
Yeah.
Use
you did.
Use the tremor sense from the Staff of the Granite Peaks.
Just to feel on the other side of the door.
That was
2
the one
bodies.
time I cast a spell other than Featherfall with the Staff of the Granite Peaks.
I'm proud of you for not just slinging out the big spell slots for flashiness and actually like being Cal at every stage of the way.
Yeah, have to, man.
We were so far into that game, you had inhabited him so well. That's a tangent. Parlis does away with these guys, goes back to the deck of the ship, and the party meets another person who's up there. And this is Reno Spade, the son of Arlo Fix and Emery Spade, is there on the deck.
Reno, I will never forget Reno. I will never forget role-playing Arlo as he met his son. I will never forget it, dude. I almost don't want you to continue because trying to summarize it would almost be a disservice to how beautiful that moment was.
Keep in mind, Arlo at this point is still trapped inside of Lokenwild. Like, he's still stuck inside of the Dusklash. So his son, like, takes the whip into his hands, and for the first time, their consciousnesses link. Like, he can hear, like, it's crazy. He's all around him. Without super belaboring the point, Reno was fun to play too, because I wanted to make him die hard loyal to Emery. Like, his mother is all that matters to him. His dad is just a guy he's heard about pretty much, right? But I wanted to give him Arlo's voice, but kind of watered down, right? So he started to do the Arlo thing, but he kept it in check pretty well. So it was never quite the full accent, right? It was a lot of fun. Lot of fun.
I did not pick up on that.
Yeah, I tried to keep it subtle, but
that's great.
So there's a nice little dialogue there. Parlis tasks Reno with keeping an eye specifically on Claymore Patch, because Clay, as soon as he was reborn, one of the first things he did was inhabit Parlis's dream. He cast Dream on Prince Parlis, gave him a terrible nightmare, warned him that these violent delights have violent ends, right? Like, told him his kingdom will come to doom if he keeps going the way he's going now. So Parlis is out to kill Patch, like is not having it with him, is only holding back from doing that at Baragon's insistent request. So on and so forth. We get this moment when the airship at this point is flying to the city of Arkancelis, which is under siege by Tiamat. The plan is to save the city from the dragon. But Parlis and Baragon are both in on this little conspiracy. This idea that once Tiamat has wrecked the city, then we'll destroy it very publicly, and our rivaling country has lost all its major cities. We've just slain the biggest creature in the world. We still have a fleet after the war. We win everything. And then Baragon's going to kill Parlis, right? Very, very classic Roman triumvirate style of fuck over. Everyone's got their own agendas.
Reputation, news headlines, town criers.
So while Parlus is in the basement of his ship, cutting up the only people who are actually loyal to him, he's Precogs, who Baragon turned against him, Claymore Patch breaks away from the ship with Reno for a little bit
They
to have a
take off.
conversation. Yeah, they dip out. And this is when, partially when Reno and Arlo have their moment together. But we get the question from Reno to Claymore Patch, and it's the only thing he cares about. He asks, "Can you say with certainty where my mother is? Where's Emery? Where's Emery Spade?" The question that started the whole campaign off, right? But Patch knows now, and he tells the truth, and he says, Mount Lear. Mount Lear in Pragasphar can only be reached by dying. And so, without a moment's hesitation, without even the slightest uncertainty, the young, militaristic Reno Spade kicks his feet up onto Claymore Patch's sternum, kicks off of him, and plummets down to the earth, dying on impact. Kills himself without a moment's hesitation, so certain in his belief of how these things operated, and so sure that Claymore Patch told the truth. It's pretty radical and insane. So, the party can now expect to find the two of them there, but when Patch returns to the ship and Parlus comes back onto his deck, sees the guy that he sent to babysit Patch has just died, has just plummeted to his death, it's war, right? Like, Parlus was about to get off the ship, he finds this out, no. He's freaking out, he won't let it go any further, he disregards all of Baragon's advice, challenges Claymore Patch to single combat, under the old laws, which is what Baragon has always abided to, right? The old laws of Nyxfair, which basically say that the king can challenge anyone he likes to single combat, and if you kill him, you get the crown. You kill Jesse James, that makes you Jesse James. So Claymore Patch, still at like half health from the Bleakwood fight, I didn't know at the time, goes up against Prince Parlus, this insane... He was like an AC 28 guy, but once he lost his precogs, it came down to like 20. He's just this insane fighter with all of these freaky little bonus actions and these specific kinds of scythe attacks, right? Like he's got this little sword or scimitar attacks, right? They go into combat right away. And Baragon says to Cow, act like you're fighting me. Like, we need to get in on this fray. We need to stir some chaos. So the fists go up, the monk shit starts to unravel, abilities begin to fly about, the emboldening bond link goes out, and we're in combat with Prince Parlus and Foreboding International. But it's not 3 against 1, it's a 1v1 and a 1v1, right? Baragon fighting Cow, super weird. Like, nobody knows what's going on. Combat runs about 3 rounds. It's pretty quick. Because Claymore Patch, knowing that the gun has Prince Parlus's name on it, decides to make a move for it.
Such a brilliant use of bond ability, dude. Such a brilliant use.
He uses his bond ability, War of the Spark, which allows him to teleport small objects from place to place, and he tries to use it to take the gun off of Baragon. They make competing intelligence saving throws, or an intelligence check, a save from Baragon, or something like that. It says in the description.
I think
you make a save,
advantage.
and if you have superior intelligence, like your int score is higher, you have advantage on the roll to try and get the gun or something. Or they have disadvantage. But regardless, it succeeds. Claymore Patch, like, reduced to his last few hit points by Prince Parlus. Just cut up in a matter of rounds with reaction, bonus action, slices, everything. Teleports this gun into his hand, points it at Parlus, and for those of you who've been following this story, Claymore Patch has fought tooth and nail. He has died, literally. He has done insane things to stop this gun from going off. He fires it. Prince Parlus dies. So, on one hand, huge win for the FBI, out of nowhere. We're celebrating. On the other hand, Baragon isn't the king, and Parlus is dead now, so Claymore Patch is the king of Nyxfair. And as the city is being sieged by Tiamat below them, this is when the airships arrive, right now. And they see, just as Parlus falls, breaking over the horizon, Tiamat laying into this city over and over again. Revelia, the rock that the party fought against, transforms into her giant bird-like self and tries and defends the city. So, smash cut to Mislin inside of Baragon's staff, watching his mom getting torn apart by a dragon queen, right? It's time. It's time for the FBI to regroup, heal up, go kill Tiamat. But Baragon doesn't. Baragon attacks Claymore Patch. And I don't know if it's one hit, I don't know if it's two. Puts him down effortlessly. Just walks up to this guy, and he was at so few hit points. Patch doesn't fight back. Patch says, let's go down to the city. Fine, you can have this. I don't want this title. Let's fight later. Baragon says no. And pummels Clay into the earth, right? Just decimates this guy quickly. And is king. For all intents and purposes. People object. People scream. There are fights for it. But everyone who does, Baragon addresses them singly. He singles them out. He walks around in this semicircle and challenges anybody to try and take the title from him. And nobody does. As the city of Arkansas, named after the wizard who died that same day, is itself burnt, corroded, frozen, and zapped to the ground, alongside Revelia and all of its inhabitants. A city of tens of thousands of people is destroyed in front of the party's eyes. The screams from it like a low din of breath in the wind. And that's where the session ends. So, the party, in some ways, got through everything they were supposed to get through. They faced all their final encounters, but they didn't save Arkansas. And there's still, going into the last session, there's still dissent within the FBI when we thought they had regrouped totally. So, it was a heartbreaker, man. This session was crazy. It was off the rails. Super sweet.
I mean, some of the best roleplay
Absolutely
of all time. We'll talk about some things I want to mention about it in the post interview about Reno. About the politics going on the ship at the time, about the threats that Parlis leveled to Patch's face. Just wild stuff, man. But God, yeah, really.
It was cracked in half. It was a bunch of fun. The campaign coming to an end adds necessary drama to everything, which Josadius, lucky you, buddy, gets a piece of that campaign ending drama now, doesn't it? Huh? You should be celebrating the fact that your days are numbered.
It's a mixed bag, man. I really just want to know that we have enough sessions to do justice to the end of my world. The end of our world. The end of my world.
The royal we.
Yeah. The royal we. We are in the peace courts. Dolith Flintheart, Father Gear, co-conspirator of the Warforged Project, just confessed being an accomplice in the murder, obfuscation, memory erasing of the original discoverers of the Warforged vessels, right? And I mean, it was one of the most beautiful combats that one of the best maps that I've ever made. Truly, like, oh God, I can't believe. I think I could bring it up as I talk
right now.
No, yeah, I can bring it up as we talk, but it's Oh, hold on.
Can't remember the last.
Am I gonna do this right now? Absolutely, I am.
That I had. It must have been in Targonra. We haven't had mapped combat since Targonra.
We haven't had maps in a minute. That's true, and I don't mind it. I'm a big Theater of the Mind guy these days. That's true. Like Shrek and his bodyguard, looking around, realizing that this entire courtroom is converging. Knight Champion Scepter Grey next to the Empress of Josadius. The brains and bots across the aisle. All of his Warforged except for Ares, the Warlock, who's injured, recuperating. Stand up at once. We launch into initiative.
Jesus, dude.
Everybody's trying to reach this guy before they know he's about to do what he's about to do. Before he tries to make a move to escape, right?
What's the music cue for this? How do you convey this moment?
I don't remember, dude, but it was tense. Let let me share the screen, Judge. I can't right now, but give me permission if you would be so.
Oh yeah, I'll go right in for it. You can.
Everybody's just like firing off arrows. They know that this guy can skip town pretty quickly, and they're gonna have to move quickly and be clever in order to stop him, right?
All right, there you go.
I got it.
Yeah.
Nice. So we have Shrek, his towering, constructed Eldritch Knight muscle next to him. We got the brains and bots on one side of the aisle, right? We got the Empress and Scepter Gray, who I didn't include in combat because it would have just been too much of a chore. I don't know what that is. But this courtroom, right? Desks and plants and accoutrements, cells that are suspended, not suspended, but built again into the walls, like dozens of feet up, right? And it gets to Shrek's turn. He's ready to make the upset happen. He starts to cast a spell, realizes that he does not have his spellcasting focus. While Shrek slept or pretended to sleep, Kartikeya fished into his bag of holding, pulled out a spellcasting focus, took it off of Shrek's person, took away his ability to cast spells. They don't tell you this in school, man. They don't tell you this, that if you ever want to stop a mage from getting away with their tricks, you rifle through their shit until you find the rabbit's foot, man.
You stuff their mouth full of cotton, man. That's crazy.
Then they're just a dude. And so Shrek does the thing, the only thing that he can do truly without a spellcasting focus. As a cleric of trickery, he invokes divine intervention, right? I think he's level 15. So let's say a little bit better of a chance than 1 in 10 that he's able to make something happen. D100, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is like one of the first pseudo in-person sessions I've played with the party since we left South Carolina, right? I'm sitting in Greg's place with him and Mac, who plays our bard. And dude, I had no idea that the campaign would be escalated in the way it was about to be. I had no idea. I had a soft launch into Arc 3, right? It was more of like it was like an overlap, like Arc 2 and Arc 3. Okay, it's blurry.
Okay, that tracks.
We're moving, we're going, things are happening.
We're deliberating the consequences of Arc 2 right now, like, so.
And on the D100, I roll an 8.
You got under a 15? Come on.
Smash cut down to the catacombs, the royal catacombs beneath the palace, where Detective Daybreak and a number of Crownsguard Reserve are trying to breach the maze of the damned. They're trying to investigate this magical phenomenon, get closer to the fiendish goddess of secrets who seem to be wreaking this havoc that they ultimately could no longer ignore, right? And then, so the maze of the damned is underneath this sarcophagus, right? This tomb in the middle of these royal catacombs. And suddenly there's a great, and the maze, the opening of the maze, getting bigger and bigger, and Crownsguard are being sucked down into the maze, just careening down this rainbow bridge. Detective Daybreak is sprinting to stop this cavernous opening to this cursed maze from swallowing him. And underneath the party, a gaping hole is cut into the floor of the peace courts, and a withered woman with open sockets for holes and wounds that are healed with wood and steel reaches up a skeletal hand and steals Shrek, his security, and Guan Yu, Kartikeya's artificer counterpart, into the maze, leaving this gaping, undulating rainbow bridge that this party has nothing left but to stare down into as their quarry, all hope they had of righting this wrong, and getting to the source, finding the truth, right? Truth without X-Files is ripped away. This was a grand moment of improv for me. I think
bet it had to be.
I think it helped a lot that it was a dice roll.
Sure.
Because the party was like, what the fuck do we do here? So the aftermath is this, right? The party is just, they're left to pick up the pieces. The palace is being dismantled just by virtue of the foundation underneath it crumbling away. They go try and find the Empress, and Knight Champion Scepter Grant, they're trying to get the hell out of Dodge. The Empress makes a call on her little dial-up sending stone, uses some of her minutes, and Keith on his Omnicorn is flying in to preempt the Empress from leaving, to make sure she was safe. I still don't know. I'm not even certain that Mac knew when he was role-playing Keith. And he settles on asking the status. The Empress concedes that she's going to skip town, that she can't stay. And they have a little help arriving who apparates into the teleportation chamber, but Harris Birch, the man in black.
Birch? It's an awesome name for a character.
Right? He's one of the can I say this? On the off chance that any members of my party are watching this, I won't. Keith made a promise to the traveler, to his patron, that he would find Daisy, whom he knew was with Harris Birch, and to bring her to the traveler, right?
Is this the Rune Child?
Right, the Rune Child, Daisy. Daisy Rivali is her last name.
She's Italian.
Daughter of the police commissioner, the late police commissioner Dennis Rivali of Tyr, where our journey started.
Awesome name for a place. Shout out Wheel of Time. Probably no relation whatsoever.
Well, I actually I ripped the name from Sam Dolphin's campaign years ago in Corner House, or no, North Quad. Anyway, little something to mention in the post interview.
Yeah, sure.
Harris Birch appears, and Keith is given this opportunity to inquire on this promise he made. And Harris Birch says, in his baritone Southern drawl, "This just isn't the right time. We gotta skip town. I gotta take the Empress, and we gotta get far away from here, as I suggest you do." And Keith, I mean, ever the negotiator, ever far from the one to ask for something directly, mentions that he made a promise to find Daisy, and they part ways. It's tense. It's weird. They have bigger fish to fry. They both decide. It was a cool moment that complicated an even more complicated moment, which I'm all for. Right? How fucked up can we make things together?
Get messy. What else you got to do?
So the party is seriously considering jumping into the maze and pursuing Shrek, pursuing Guan Yu, the beloved bot for whom the team was named the Brains of Bots, one of the beloved bots. And before they do, Dolith steps forward, Glayson's brother.
Right.
And he says, and I've been debating doing character voices in recaps, but I think it brings it to life a little bit, so I'm going to do it. He walks up, and in classic Huang fashion, he says, "This was all meant to be, and any distance I kept from you, brother, was for a reason, and I'm not sorry." And shit, I mean, there was a rift driven through these brothers hundreds of years ago, right? They're hundreds of years old, the both of them. And Gleason dismisses him. He's like, "All right, you laid in your bed the way you have to lay in your bed the way you made it. I'm grateful you're not around." He doubled down. What choice did you have?
Yeah, that's
And
a done deal.
so the one remaining Warforged that hadn't made their choice, Huitzilopochtli, their warlock, who speaks in a lot the same way that the automated TikTok voice explains things in TikToks, like sort of Siri adjacent, but also, I mean, we're all familiar.
Yeah, that's a good bit.
Huitzilopochtli asks, "What am I supposed to? How am I supposed to proceed?" And Barty explains, "You could go with Dolith. You could come with us. More now than ever, the future is yours. Your future is yours to decide." And I think this is the proudest I've ever been of my ability to complicate things in a huge way, completely improvised. Huitzilopochtli, faced with this choice to go with her disgraced father or to join the brains and bots in their crusade to find Neome, to discover the truth, takes a step forward and leaps into the maze after her brother.
Sweet.
And collective groans from the party. God damn it, character motivations. They decried me, and I was just so thrilled.
I love
the way this session went. Brief behind the screens because we are over time.
Still, that's awesome, Charlie.
Brief behind the screens. I figured this combat would happen. I figured it'd be short. Credit to Greg for thinking to take away Shrek's spellcasting focus.
That's a cunning move.
To make things way more to make things way better, way more complicated.
Rules lawyer stuff.
Shrek simultaneously reveals that he is a cleric of Neome, fiendish goddess of secrets.
So that came out.
Big reveal. Bert shows up, big player. Dolith faces down his brother, right? They debrief about their relationship. I don't know, man. It's magic. It felt like a beautiful marriage of all the things that make D&D special. The game and the dice and also the role play and the lore, the escalation, man. Now the great challenge that is left is to how do I give this the gas it deserves with the time I have left? That's the walls are closing in. They're growing spikes.
I get it, man. Like you're accelerating to a sprint when there's a brick wall dead in front of you, and you got to have a plan for when you get there, right?
Exactly.
Shout out Sincere, the student that I've raced every single day for the last couple months. All timer, very famous for his speed. And when we're sprinting straight at a brick wall. You gotta. There's not a lot of room in that gym. You gotta make plans.
That's stupid, dude.
And that's the way Josadius is going now, dude. You're headed straight.
Yeah, I'm really excited. There's a ton of Josadius left to cover in Ironlight. Not so much Pragasphar left. Mm-hmm. We haven't really discussed the future of this show post Pragasphar, man.
Not really. I want to do a couple Pragasphar shows even after the session recaps have ended.
Sure.
There's stuff to juice there. It'd be sweet if we could get Max on. I know the guy's crazy busy.
Yeah,
it'd be nice
good
to have
point,
him
man.
For a sash.
Yeah, that would be good. I would really like that as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about it though. There's infinite content.
Let's not plan for ends. Come on.
Braceless.
I wanna mention some stuff about the Day of Three Kings. I'm putting you on the spot here. I get Baragon and Patch were both kings briefly. Mm-hmm. How did Cal fit into that whole Three Kings Day equation?
You were the only member of the FBI that was not at any point King of Nyxfair. How do you feel, man? Does that get you down?
No. Cal had no love or no desire for the throne or the crown or even accidental, never.
I know,
right?
I know. I tease. No.
Right.
Especially he's the only one wrapped up in politics. No, it refers to, of course, Parlous was king at the start of the day, and then Patch
Right.
was by the time noon came, and then Baragon was by the time the sun set.
I'm just like, Cal is such a turning point for me, man.
Yeah.
I had this main character syndrome for a lot of the time I played D&D, right? Salik, if he wasn't at the center,
Yeah, I see
I
that.
would feel like I wasn't doing enough, or the game wasn't like coalescing in the way I thought it should. And at the end, Salik was often in the middle.
It's
Korik
interesting
too.
though. You know,
Yeah.
you can look at Salik and Peregrine as like this huge fight for main charactership. And I don't know. That's one way of looking at it. Maybe you can't when Jizo is like the B-Bag, but whatever, dude. Of course, we are slightly wiser now that we can step back on such things.
Korik was soft-spoken, but as far as I was concerned, he was the toast. He was the toast of the vested interest.
Dude, who else? Percy wielded the sword. The second relic we got was... What's the second relic we got?
And of course I'm joking, man. I'm just so happy the way that I enjoyed playing Cal as this like observer, this someone through whom the horror was fed, and he had to emerge on the other side and arbitrate and delegate and
always in the middle
and beg. I wanted to mention that too. That was our first in-person session.
Yeah, dude.
Of Pragasphar. We all went up to Midland, and that beautiful moment where Baragon challenged Patch to single combat. Max got up out of his seat.
Dude, I thought they were gonna throw hands. I thought that was it.
Truly, and
oh my god,
Cal genuinely thought that Baragon was going to murder Patch, same as Patch murdered Parlous.
It looked like it. It seriously looked like it.
And Cal got down on his knees and held out his hands, and he was like, Patch, make me a diamond. Like, let me bring you back. Baragon, it's funny because Max revealed that it was never Baragon's intention to murder Patch, but he never said it.
Hey, man, your guess was... For all we know, Max decided, like, in the moment, when someone asked, non-lethal damage? He was like, yeah, like...
Yeah!
It might have been a coin flip.
Flying by the seat of his pants, dude.
Oh, it was cracked.
By the seat of all of our pants. Cal left to watch. You know what? As I'm reading Dune, as I just digested Paul killing his first man, Hamis.
Yeah, poor guy.
In the siege.
After toying with him, it seemed.
Right.
Yeah.
Just outside of Siege Tabor. Tabur, I guess, would be the Arabic.
Yeah, default Arabic pronunciation.
Right, yeah. It felt very Fremen, like the old laws.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, we're a developing democracy, but if you want to challenge the king in blood combat for the throne, like, it's your party. You can cry if you want to.
Yet another example of the ways that Max walking up with Baragon Emberclaw, this Leonin monk that didn't speak common, and being Max, changed the kind of game I was going to run. Like, it was so out of touch in the first few sessions, and as Baragon changed a little and I changed a little, like, we finally met in the middle. But that's not the kind of character that Parlous would have been in session 4 or 5 when the party agreed to work for him. Like, that's not who he would have been.
Parlous schmoozed. Parlous was an idealist.
Yeah, man.
He was going to move heaven and earth to avoid a second South River massacre.
Seriously.
It was just like this insidious way that he disavowed the native peoples, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was supposed to be his issue. But Baragon gets a lot of credit for slowly coercing him over into evilness or whatever, or like dominion, power, control. Patch played a huge role in it too. Like, Patch was only ever alien and hostile to Parlous from session 4.
When Parlous popped in on the function, while we were still trying to keep ourselves from dying from the chakram of Emery Spades, Patch shouted down from the top of the ship, Dr. Claymore Patch prepare to die. Like today's the day that I'm going to take you to lunch. I mean,
Fact. You can't make a man that like that afraid. It's nothing
Pat
good's gonna come of it.
Parlos was fearless.
Yeah.
You got it. He was a lot of lesses. You can say that about him for sure.
Cool stuff, man. And then he died,
And then he
So,
died.
Arkancelis, Parlis, two of the big three original players gone.
Parlous, fearless, and ultimately lifeless. Right?
That's what we'll call him now, and
Lifeless.
inevitably.
Prince Lifeless. Reno did not pitch himself from the grip of Patches. Reno implored. Reno was like, "Let me go."
That's right. This is true. Okay.
And as Reno plummeted, he clutched the Dusklash. And
Oh,
Arlo Reno
dude,
was
how did I
like,
not mention that? That was such a killer, man. The voice of his dad stuck, the soul of his dad in this weapon as it falls with his doomed son.
And as Arlo sat undying next to his now perished young son,
His splatter of a kid, dude.
Patch offered to just leave him there, and Arlo refused. Arlo was like, "There's more story to tell. There's more life to live. There's more to see.
Oh, Jesus, man.
There's more left." It was heartbreaking. Arlo is by far, like, I've written a lot of tragedy, right? Korik, this new character, Huang. I've written a lot of tragedy, but Arlo, it felt palpable. It felt important.
Damn. Yeah, we won't talk about the last session right now, but
yeah, how many things can you say that about?
yeah, no way, man. That's cracked.
And the last that I have written down to ask you about is the way that you ruled War of the Spark, right? Let me read this again for the people at home.
Get into her.
He may attempt to use this effect, meaning teleportation, forcing someone to teleport, on unwilling creatures or their possessions, who must make a charisma save to resist the effect. Creatures with higher intelligence than Clay have advantage on the save for themselves and their possessions. How did you decide that the intelligence thing was going to interact with this mechanic of War of the Spark?
In one part, I'm trying to use underused mechanics. That's why I like charisma saving throws, and that's why I like the int stat, which is, unless you're a wizard, usually dump worthy, right? On the other hand, I wanted to lean into how it was supposed to feel like chess with Patch. It was supposed to feel like tactical outmaneuvering. So if your int score is higher than him, like if you can reason out what he's trying to do, you're going to be much more apt at preventing it, right? So I was mostly a design flavor marriage like that. Had less to do with Claymore Patch. The War of the Spark title is from Magic the Gathering. It's like the name of a set when all of these Planeswalker characters converge together. And Planeswalkers are the people who teleport, right, from world to world. So it all seemed very timely for him.
Brilliant.
Yeah, Brilliant. I thought it was cool.
Very, very, very cool.
Oh my god, dude.
I would be remiss if we didn't dedicate at least the last 10 minutes and some change to not only the new campaign, but also the things that we've been listening to and watching and enjoying and reading.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, let's shout that out sometimes.
But let's start with Houston's new campaign, the Amaean. I am playing a rogue ranger by the name of Huang, right? Blind guy, 55 years old, talks to himself.
A lot.
Really, really, really fun. Really, really, really fun. Super fun.
The voice is exquisite.
He's a character that I stole from Josadius. Greg, if you're watching, he is, well, never mind. I won't say
anything. I can't know
Jojo,
that.
you're in the campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you tell them a little bit about your character?
I can say a little bit more because it's common knowledge between us. Drummer, Meridian Special Operations Division, Battery Unit D9, drummer, subheaded, right? Was from our one shot, which ended up being a 2-shot in Targonra a long time, like over 2 years ago at this point.
This was the first time I ever DM'd for the folks from Corner House.
Yeah, and you're DMing in Aiden's world, in a world that is essentially not yours. Yeah, I ran up this little barbarian dwarven girl drummer who her whole bit was she could channel crazy amounts of magic, but she couldn't really use it, which I thought went well with Wild Soul Barbarian. So mages used her as a battery. They would channel from her. So I figured, Jim will probably run a wizard into this campaign. I would love for drummer to back up a Jim wizard. I think it'd be sweet.
Yeah, that's
We may
phenomenal.
yet see it, but super fun character, super fun voice. I mean,
This last session we played, it's a military campaign. In particular, and I call it military not because we were like saluting and speaks like saying oaths but it's called Oak. Is a place where where the setting of the campaign is Oakland Adventuring
Company with a K,
right? And Jim's character Erlander, wheelchair bound Erlander,
another
along with
super bold move,
along with teenage drummer and blind Twong, the charity case. We are training. We are training. We have been put together as a team at this school, at this academy, and we are to be tested, along apparently with a bunch of other recruits at the academy. Ship flies south.
I should have known. Just by the way, Houston's like, yeah, these people are going to be testing you, but you're testing not as individuals, but as a team, and you're testing with a bunch of other people, and the test is 0. Like, there were so many inconsistencies about I should have known. It was never going to happen, man.
Ugh. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel. Like, I was really looking forward to the test. I was really looking forward to meeting
and then
the Everything Bagel. I was like, our mentor, Popka Polima, of the previous iteration of Team 23, the group that we are with, the group that we are referred to as Team 23, Hurricane,
as it used to be.
He is teleported along with us and like half like maimed in the teleportation process of being deposited in the wrong place in the multiverse. And we move through a dungeon, bumbling, truly, through probably the single strangest and most unique first session of a campaign I have ever been a part of.
Hands down.
I feel like I have no more insight as to how to move forward playing this character than I did before we played. In a lot the same way as Swang is, I'm moving through darkness, man. It's a cold world from which it's going to be a challenge to glean useful insight that Huang can make use of, that I can use to role play this character in a way that I feel is fulfilling.
And for the first time in a long time, we're not playing characters that are close, or that have histories, or that know how to interact together. We're playing like relative strangers. So
truly, and orthogonal strangers for the most part.
Yeah, who've never spent more than an hour together,
right?
And now get teleported to the pit, a classic Houston Web dungeon. All right,
we were thrust.
It was crazy.
It was an incredible pit. I had such a fun time imagining what the place looked like. We're really excited. We're gonna play our next session in May.
Yeah.
I won't say too much else about the whole thing. That's just the next project that Jojo and I are going to be a part of.
The story's coming up. Not really our campaign diaries to tell, but we'll end up talking about it a lot, no matter what. So.
Plug Design and Dissection one more time.
Des and Dis, always running.
Something Houston's going to be mentioning in upcoming campaign diaries.
Oh, he'd best. Okay, but you, while we're here, what you reading? What you watching? We got Dune, clearly.
Yeah. When I consume fiction, I spend a significant amount of time thinking about if I should like it. If I should like it. Not if I do like it.
Morally? Okay.
Like, if it's good. Like, if it's a good quality thing. Should I like it? Should other people like it? I don't have to spend time thinking about if I like it. I decide fairly immediately. I waste time. I hate doing it. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Michelle Yeoh. That is the first piece of fiction I have consumed since I was very young, where there was a point in the movie where it all fell away. I was like, I like this movie, and it's just simple. Like, I know it's good. Why do I need to think? Why do I need to wonder if it's going to be critically acclaimed? If it's gritty enough? If it distinguishes itself, especially from other movies? Why is it? Why do I need to? It was so fat. It was so phenomenal.
A
If it's not on your
revelatory
Rex
moment,
list,
Charlie.
we're watching it, Judge. Don't mark your calendar because I don't know when next I'll see you, but we're watching it because it's
All right,
phenomenal.
sweet. I've heard amazing things. A lot of people whose opinions I really, really value said that it was. They say you can't have any context for it, but you must watch it.
It's a tour de force.
Spectacular. All right.
What
sweet,
about you,
man.
Judge?
Media, Arcane at the request of Houston Webb and further insistence of Charlie. It's been sweet. Animation's really cool. I don't really follow League stuff. I pick up. You can kind of smell where the references are, especially once you know that it's happening. You can get like the inside jokes, but
Sure.
but no, just watching it for the show that it is. It's been a blast. I'm almost done with it. It's been a ton of fun. Nichijou. It's an older anime that I'm watching. It's made up of very small serial bits. It's not like a story that goes on. It's very small, self-contained cartoons. And it's really, truly hilarious. Just
Wow.
like absurdly funny and easy to watch. I'm having a very good time with it. I knew Jim, Shepik, and Jack Richards loved it. Like they watched it together. But no, it's a masterpiece and like really stupid comedy, which means a lot to me. It's been a minute.
Dude, when can we just watch things that are dumb and funny? I haven't. It's hard. It's hard for me to feel good about that, man.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy that you're there.
Sure. I mean, it's like it's a side gig, right? As far as reading goes, I just finished Wool by Hugh Howey. Awesome book. Really super easy to get into science fiction. Really cool ideas. Really good action. And I just started reading The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss.
Ooh,
Super
big,
popular right now.
big.
Yep. Huge title. Patrick Rothfuss plays D&D famously. I plug it every time I bring him up. Acquisitions Incorporated. Watch the YouTube videos. It changed my life. My earliest role model before Crit Roll, way before.
He's featured. Speaking of Crit Roll, he is featured in the campaign.
Has he?
He is in campaign 1 in particular. He cameoed, and he is a fan favorite guest.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Name of the Wind, I'm only like 100 pages in, but it's so good. It's really
so good.
So
we've got 60 seconds and some change left.
Oh, clean it.
We haven't waxed poetic in this show in a while. I have parting words. I have words to leave us on.
Impart with us.
Things are changing. I'm getting a second job in May. Wow. Jojo and I have this big trip planned in July, and I don't know moment to moment if everything is going to have to change, if everything is going to need to change. I can't help but feel like Pragasphar was a generous sort of it let me dip a toe, it let me wade into the change that was going to, the very Sam Cooke change that was going to arrive, that was going to come from me, come for us all. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that we're still doing Ironlight. I'm of course grateful to you, Judge. And I hope that you, the audience, and you, Joji, stick with me for a while longer, because I think it's going to be really. I think these next few moments are going to be unforgettable.
I look forward to it.
Over to you, Judge.
Sun, moon, stars, rain. I mean, what could I say to parallel that? I'm so in love with endings, and I'm always so dumbfounded after the endings. Like what's after the afterlife? Where is there left to go? Things will just keep happening regardless of how into my head I get. So we'll celebrate that. The ongoing of things, the goings on of ongoing things, Charlie. To it we cheer and end our episode.
Jim, I'm so excited to play Erlander with you in a couple weeks, and I will say goodbye to you this week.
Au revoir.